configuration.
All right.
Welcome, everyone. And we are on Facebook. Yay! Welcome.
All right. Welcome, Intuition of the Soul members. We are so excited tonight to bring Kim on, the animal communicator. And I was like already thinking, okay, I got some questions about my dog, So I'm ready, but welcome, Kim. We're glad you're here.
We were just having a wonderful, we're just having a little chat ahead of time, and we're talking about all of the different things that have been going on, and we're very excited. Been a lot of storms around this country, including Kim's got some storms going right now. So, and we're sending to our members out there who have been going through tornadoes and storms and cold snaps and whatever, healing and blessing and protection.
Yeah, ours is just rain in California right now, which we desperately need. So
yeah,
I'm good with it.
We're just going to talk for just a couple minutes, guys.
Okay.
One of the things we're going to ask our people on the Zoom to do is to mute. And just to let you know, we're not going to really be letting people on past 5 minutes after, because we found that it gets really distracting if people pop on and pop off the Zoom part. We do have 5 people watching with us just in the live chat. So I'll be monitoring that. So just, say hello. And but I'm so excited, Kim, that you came. I contacted her a couple months ago. It's kind of funny when I contact you, say, hey, can you come in December? And they're like, oh, okay. So, but she's like, she was all for it. So,
so get your questions around, think about those. And after Kim tells us a little bit about her story, I'm sure she wouldn't mind answering a few questions if you have them.
And
absolutely.
Because I have a question coming up, because I'm going to be babysitting an extra dog, and I have 2 dogs, and I've got all kinds of stuff like help, we have for 10 days. So it'll be fun, but I'm sure there are better ways, just like when you bring your infant home, when you bring somebody else's dog home to take care of. I'm sure that there are better ways to communicate with our animals besides stop.
Besides yelling at them or bribing them with a treat.
Right.
So
amazed.
All right. So a little delay. So I think we could probably start, but again, and I'll put a note up after 5 minutes that you're welcome to join us online. But we're not to have people popping on. So did you have some people you knew were coming, Kim, or they may be watching the replay? Kim, is she frozen?
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no. She may be frozen, folks.
She may be frozen.
She's got some winds and rains going on. So, and it said that her internet was unstable. So hopefully if she has to go out, she'll just come right back in there. Are you back? Can you hear us, Kim?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. You were frozen a little bit.
Yeah, I know. It's everybody's doing it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So it's coming in and out. All right. So we're going to
go out and come back in.
Nah, I don't. You think it's going to make any difference?
I don't know. It usually never does for me.
No. Now she's not frozen, but she's not hearing us. You can tell.
Yeah, it's just it's going in and out. Maybe I could go out and come back in. How's that?
Okay, why don't we try it?
Do you want to try that?
All right, everybody, wave goodbye to Kim, and then she's coming back.
I'll be back in a minute.
All right, so let's see. Now I don't know any good jokes. I can't think of any.
Well, I'm excited to hear about this, and I hope that I'd like to be a better animal communicator. That's not something I have much experience with. Poor Yak's going to need some help, but it's something I would love to learn. So I'm excited to hear what she's got to say.
Yeah, me too. All right. Well, hopefully when she comes back on.
Hey.
There she is.
All right.
All right.
All right, so I'm going to
Let's
ask
see how
every,
that works.
we're going to mute and we're going to put Kim on speaker. And Kim, can you introduce yourself and maybe tell us a little bit about yourself?
Mhm.
Uh-oh.
Absolutely. Okay. My name is Kim Musto. How this began for me was it actually started when I was about 3 or 4 years old. I had started wondering about the world as most children do, and I wondered about why it is, and no one could answer me as to why we can't talk to animals. You know, I just thought it was ludicrous. My whole life I thought it was ludicrous. But I spent a lot of my life reading them, watching their body language, touching them. I can touch and feel certain things on animals that are not right, you know, whether it be sore or just anything at all that doesn't seem right, I can do sometimes. And I kind of came about it a few years ago, actually through Facebook. It was a fluke. There was a woman that's on there. Her name is Joan Ranquet. She's actually 80 miles south of me in Santa Clarita, California, and she teaches this. She's an animal communicator herself, but yet she does this work. Now she's devoted the rest of her life to, instead of reading animals, teaching people how to read animals. Because we're in desperate need of people to bridge that gap between us and those creatures. Things that are not being said that need to be said. And it's just a matter of taking yourself as a human being, having an open mind, an open heart, being able to meditate, to get to a place of neutrality where, yes, you're aware of your surroundings, but yet you put yourself aside to make room for another in your heart. So you can bridge that gap and let that animal come in to speak with you. And they love that. They love the fact that you are there to help them so they can tell their story or whatever it is that they want to do. You know, that's what I have found every single time. There's been a few animals in my readings that haven't exactly wanted to communicate because of their circumstances, but I do get them to come around. So it's not been a matter I've never been able to not, you know, read an animal. I can't say that I've learned everything I want to learn because I'm still learning. I'm still taking more classes through Joan. She's got a ton of them. So I'm working more on the energy side because there is a side which what I do now, and that is just general readings, medical intuition readings, lost animals, rescue animals, animals that have behavioral issues. You know, you don't know why is your animal doing that. Some people, the most main ones that people want to hear about is either they want to know just a general reading. What are their animals like? What do they want from us? What is there? Do they have questions? What do they prefer? You know, everyday personality stuff. And then there's those that have other issues where it gets down to they're pretty sure it may be a medical issue. Now, as a disclaimer for you guys, as animal communicators are not diagnosticians, okay? We will go in, we will give you an idea of what we think it may be, but the rest is up to you to take to your vet. Now, I do tell people, vets are not exactly happy with us all the time. They're still out there. There's a lot of holistic vets out there that love us, okay? But I have to explain to everybody, if you go the route I find something in your animal that may be something. I won't say what it is. I don't say it's absolutely cancer. You know, I'll tell you that there may be something in a general area that needs to be checked out. I will do that. And then it's up to you, like I said, go to your vet and have them check it out. And the way you do that is you just go in and say, look, I think there's something wrong over here. Can you please check? You know, that way it keeps me and you from looking like loonies, because I stand by my work, but the idea is they don't always, they're scientists, okay? They don't believe in this kind of spiritual work. So we have to be very careful. And that goes with anything that I do. I am not a diagnostician at all. I'm not a vet. I'm not a vet tech. I have worked in rescue organizations before, but I am not claiming to be anything but a helper, a communicator between you and your animal. That's my story. I will never stop learning. I don't think there's ever going to be a time. I love this job. I really love it.
I think that that's absolutely, amazing. I imagine most of us on here are intuitives and empaths, so we certainly understand, obviously, when you say people think you're nuts.
Yeah, they
you
do.
know?
Yeah, I mean, if you go across, vets across the board are taught science, which is great. And I think there's nothing wrong with Western science, you guys. Okay, I'm not saying that's not a good thing. What I'm saying is what we do plus the Western science can be melded together. I think in the future, I think in the next 20 years or so at least, we will start seeing them come around and start using more of us as to help them. Because sometimes vets don't see it. They just don't see it. And sometimes we do. And I have the ability, and I was trained through Jung, where I can actually get inside of an animal's body, psychically, and go in and look for clues in their body as to what may not be functioning, all the time while talking to them and always asking them questions as well. Because when I go in, I'll say, okay, how are you feeling today? What your mom or your dad asked me to talk to you about XYZ. Can you explain me what it is that you feel? And then I'll go in as they're talking to me, and we'll do it together. We will go in and we will absolutely do it together. That's what we do. And the same goes for just a general reading. I don't go in and just start. I always ask the animal's permission. And I'll say, this is who I am. Your mom or dad asked me, please. I want you to talk to me. She wanted me to talk to you about just you and how you're doing, and if there's anything I can do for you. She wants to know if she needs to do anything, or anything at all. And they are more than willing to talk to you. They really are. They love that. They absolutely love that.
Well, this is fascinating stuff. Did you have that ability before the training? Did you have that sense that you could communicate with them? I know you said you had an interest in it, but did you have that?
Yeah, as far as this kind of work goes, anyone can do it. Anybody can do it. Us as empaths and intuitives have more of a leg up than the regular person, but anybody can do this. And you'd be surprised, and I was amazed, how far along I was doing this before I was actually trained. And I want to tell you, it was like just sliding right on in there. And I'm like, this is not as hard as what I thought. It just takes dedication to meditation, being able just to neutralize yourself so you can allow for another to come into your heart chakra, because that's where they come in. And that's where they speak to you. And you have to be able to do that. Of course, as a regimen, you do have to be able to meditate every day or every so often. You shouldn't leave it go by the wayside. Everybody, if we're all empaths and intuitives, we know that. If we don't, we should know that. That's important. But it's just such a useful It is so useful for this world right now. I want to learn more. I want to be able to educate people so badly after all I've seen working in animal shelters and with rescues. The horrible stuff that I have seen. Oh. And these animals, they're just pure love, guys. They are pure love, and they are here, and we just have to learn how to communicate with them and love them for who they are. And some people just don't have that ability because the way the world is, I guess. It's just, if they've come from an abusive home, it can be a problem. It starts out, a lot of times they say too, and this is something that I had learned a long time ago, is people that are, you know, killers, they start out with abusing animals.
Yeah.
And that's the saddest thing, because they don't have a voice, so I'm giving them a voice. That's my thing. I want to speak for them. And hopefully someday everybody can do this. It's really easy. It is. You just go for it. It's scary when you first start, but boy, you just slide right in, and man, it is amazing what you can find out. You have to trust yourself too.
Yeah.
Your intuition, you absolutely have to trust yourself.
So have you had some interesting animals, like
Oh,
an
God.
interesting story you can tell us? I'm thinking, you probably cats, dogs, horses maybe, but you've got to have some other ones, maybe some interesting
Yes.
ones.
Yes, I have one that I've been saving just for you guys because I thought it was funny. Just so you guys know, if you want to look this up sometime, there is a place down in Santa Clarita, California, called the Gentle Barn. It's a nonprofit organization. They have 3 in the United States. There's one here, there's one in Tennessee, and I believe one in either Kentucky or Texas. I keep forgetting the third one. But anyway, the lady Ellie that runs this one in Santa Clarita, what they do down there is they take animals in that come from slaughterhouses, that are on the way to a slaughterhouse, and they're rescued from that. Or just general, they're found somewhere, or hoarding situations, or medical issues, or whatever. Before they get to the point of being taken down, they take them in. They offer massages for these animals. They have chiropractic, acupuncture, acupressure. They do all kinds of work with these animals, and they live there the rest of their lives. It's a great, great organization. So anyway, one of the things Elliot asked is that we read in on a peacock and a pig. Okay, now this is hilarious because these 2 lived in the same kind of general area. Okay, and I want to tell you how funny that was, because the peacock himself, he was a very proper gentleman. He was just no nonsense. You just think of your basic well-mannered upper-class gentleman, and that's what he was. Okay, he still is, I should say. And then you have the mother with the 6 piglets. Okay, now she's funny. Okay, the problem that arose from that is the fact that they kept bugging him. They'd pull his tail feathers. They would just generally bug him. Okay, so my job was to go in, we read and find out what the problem was and see what we could do, so we get both sides of the story. And he just said, "Look, I don't want anything to do with this lady. They just need to leave me alone. I am not interested in playing." Okay, he said, "I'm not a player. I don't like that." He said, "I just want to be left alone." So I said, "Good enough. I'm going to go talk to her and find out what her story is, and then we'll work something out." And so I did, and she said, "Oh, it's just so darn fun. He just needs to loosen up and have more fun." And and I says, "Now when your little ones are out there and they're picking those tail feathers off of him, that hurts, right?" And I says, "Let's say somebody got a hold of your tail. Let's say he got a hold of your tail, and all he did was yank it all day long. And how do you think that would make you feel if that was you? If that was you that were getting your tail pulled?" And she goes, "Well, I never thought of that. I just thought it was fun. I just thought we were all having fun. I said, he doesn't play like that, honey. I said, he just does not. I says, he just wants to live his life out there with you guys, but he doesn't want to play. You should play amongst each other or other pigs that may come in, or if you have some other friends there that love that, but don't pull his feathers. He needs those feathers. He takes pride in those feathers. So it worked out. I mean, it worked out. I saw them months later. They are good. They are good. They are away from each other, and they are absolutely fine. It was cute. It was so darn cute.
I love that. The Peacock and the Pig. Sounds like a children's book.
It is. It's like thinking. I was thinking of Charlotte's Web or something. You know,
Yeah.
it just was so hilarious. But it was a serious situation because the guy was not a player. He's a very serious and proper gentleman. He takes pride in how he looks and stuff. They had found him, interestingly enough, they had found him wandering a neighborhood and brought him into the facility. I mean, it was just a random thing. He's the only peacock that they have down there. It's really hilarious. But he's just not into playing like that, you know. I've had communications with cows. Cows were very interesting animals. They are matriarchal. They have a head of the herd type of situation going on. And currently the head of the herd that I was reading is getting ready to transition. Okay, which means that she's getting ready to pass. So what she's doing now is she's teaching another how to be the matriarch. So she can transition and feel good about where she's going, you know. And she's just a love. She's just a love. A lot of the cows and stuff that, especially at the Gentle Barn, they are safe from slaughter or from inhumane conditions. I read a chicken that had arthritis in her feet. She's still living down there. She's 13 years old. A chicken. They have her claws they are bandaged, but they do well with her. But she's very happy and very spry woman. I mean, she's smart as a whip, and she loves her life there. It's a lot of good people out there that are doing this work. You'd be surprised.
So there must be trends or something that you can say, work with us, like how we should approach animals. Like in your training, can you give us some more information about your training? Because you said there was the communication side, but there's an energy side too that you're working with.
The energy side that I'm working with?
Yeah, and if you could give us maybe some of the things that they've trained you, and I'm sure you've got some advice for us as human beings about how we approach animals and some of those things.
Sure. Sure. So here's this, when you get into the energy work that I do, because I'm also a master Reiki practitioner, plus I'm an intuitive life coach through Michelle Legaly. Okay, but energy work is a little bit more difficult, okay, because you have to devote a really lot of time to practice with it, okay? There are different methods. You can use Reiki. It wasn't taught to me because I already know it, and I could teach it if I really wanted to, but I don't teach that. I just use it for my own. There's also, you can work chakra healing, okay, where you go and you can line up the chakras in an animal because they're very similar to what we have. Okay, it's really not that hard to learn the chakras. If you know yours, you know an animal's, except for just the positions are just a little bit different, but they are pretty much the same as like what we have. So you can go in and what I can do is spin them and get them to come back into alignment. Because sometimes during, behavioral issues or whatever, things come up that, as we all know, chakras are not perfect. They don't spin properly every minute of the day. They have their own thing that they do every day. We all know that, right? So in animals, it's no different. However, you know when you aren't feeling quite yourself. And it can't be explained so much as in medical, but you can just kind of sense and know that you try this particular type of thing. And when you're doing chakra healing, there is another thing that's an older method called scalar wave. It's SCALAR wave, okay? And that's a really, really in-depth way to bring those chakras into alignment on an animal. And you'd be surprised how wonderful those animals feel after that. You go in, you're with them with their chakras, you're actually communicating with them as you go. And man, when they come out, I had one dog that was just dancing around, that actually was just dancing around. He felt so good. And it was just, it's worth it to me. It's worth the energy that you work with. There's acupuncture, acupressure. Acupuncture is more aligned with those that are in the veterinary field, but acupressure, anybody can learn that. Acupressure is very, very easy to learn. It's not as highly specialized, and you don't have to have any special skills to do it. Okay, that's those. Chiropractic can be used, but again, that's in a veterinary field. Okay, but I use hands-on for all of this stuff. I like to use hands-on if I can. Now with COVID, you kind of wonder, gee, how can she do energy? Okay, if you know anything about energy stuff and you know anything about Reiki, it's all the same. You don't need to be in the same room as that animal to make them feel well. You don't. You absolutely do not have to. One woman, she was on the phone with me and she just wanted her own, I'm sorry, off topic, but she wanted her own chakras realigned. And I said, well, with COVID, it's going to be difficult. And she said, I don't see how that's possible. I have done it, you guys. It does happen. You can do it. I can read animals' energy. I can read them without having to be right in the room with them. All I need is a picture, some general information, and bam, I can get in there and I can read them. And hopefully, and I always want to have the, I hate using the word owner because that's just horrible. Companion, pet parent, however you identify yourself with your animal. I like to go and I like to partner with them after the reading. I don't allow too much information to come in, except for general stuff. If they want to give me some information, great, but I'll cut them off after a certain period because I don't want their information to cloud my information. You guys get what I'm saying? Because in that way, it's why go in if you're already going to give me everything I need? You know what I mean? I want to hear from the animal. I want to know what they're about. But the most challenging part about energy work is when you're doing medical intuition and you actually have to go inside that animal. That is a challenge. It's not something that comes very naturally to people. Some people, they are highly intuitive and they can just go right in. It took me a while to be able to do that. And it's not unusual. It's just, it's your skill set, you know. And there's another method that I use. It's called the Silva method. That's another way that taught me more on how to get inside of an animal or get inside of a thing to be able to root around and be able to feel them and to understand what they're like versus what we're like. That's something you'll that you should, absolutely try sometime in your life. It's a very, very intense course, but it can be used for animal communication and it can be used in your own life. It is so amazing. It's called the Silva method, SILVA method. It's a wonderful thing. Okay. Question about how they converse. Okay. Everybody reads an animal differently. Sometimes I get pictures. Like when I want to know something more specific, I'll have them show me around the house or wherever they live. And so that's through pictures. I have full conversations with these animals. Some people do not. Some people just see singular words and singular pictures. Also, you can get, an animal will converse with you differently than what a person would converse with you. Case in point here, which is really interesting to note, I had a woman who had an animal who, I guess it was during COVID. It was during the height of COVID, and well, she was getting ready to go back to work, and she was actually starting back, okay? And you know how we all been home, and you know how they all love that we've been at home and stuff. And she said, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. So I said, well, let me go in, let me talk to him, and let's see what's going on. And because he was acting kind of strange, and I said, honey, what's going on? What's going on with you? Mom thinks you're depressed. She says you've been pretty sad. Is it because she's gone back to work? And he goes, no, not really. I just want love, 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 love. I just want love, 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 love. That's what I want from her. Love, 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 love. Now you and I would sit there and say to ourselves, love, love, love. Okay, want some more cuddling. So I'm telling her this information. All right, so we get to that point, and I'm telling her about the love, 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 right? And she goes, but he's not a cuddly type of cat. He's just not. I go, well, think about this for a few minutes, okay? And we'll come back to it, okay? So she did, and it wound up being, it wasn't love. To him, he equated the word love with a lot more play. He wanted her to play with him some more. That's where he equated love with play. You see? So just because an animal tells me a word doesn't always mean that it's exactly what it means. We have to sometimes sit back and we have to say, what does that mean? And I will give them information. I'll say, chew on it for 24 hours. If we don't get through it during the conversation, we can come back and you can email me or whatever and we can talk about it, you know. But those are the types of things that will happen. Or one time I was reading an animal for medical intuition. It had to do with, actually with a cancerous situation. And what I felt was the animal's stomach felt like boiling oil to me. Boiling oil. That's what it felt like. That's what I would feel, and that's what I would equate to what was happening with chemo, one of the effects of chemo. It felt to me like it was boiling oil. Okay? So what we perceive is not always what they may not say the same words we do, but they know what they're saying. They just have to get you to understand what it is they want. And is it rude to ask an animal to stop licking and sharing their treats? Absolutely not. There may be a medical reason why that they are licking. If they're talking about licking the treat, or are we talking about licking in general? Because that, I have to know the difference here. So Jennifer, if you could elaborate and tell me what you mean. Because if it's just licking, then it can be a medical issue too. You know, or it could be a million things it can be. You know, sharing their treats. You gotta give me more information so I know what you're talking about.
She wrote licking me.
So,
Kim, she wrote licking me. Can you hear me?
oh yeah, okay, yeah. It can be. You know, it depends. You have to consider a few things. Is what I consider in those information, because I just had somebody I was reading like this. Okay, you have to consider the breed of the animal. Okay, how long you've had this animal, how long this has been going on. Okay, we look at your whole general situation in your home. Okay, what's going on there, you know. Also, a big determiner of changing an animal's habits is you have to change your expectations of your animal. So yeah, I can give you a few hints, and I can say, okay, we're gonna, you know, this is what you can try. I don't tell you you have to do it, okay? I tell you this is what you can try, okay? But the thing is that if you constantly are expecting that dog or that cat to lick you, that's what they're gonna just assume that's what they're supposed to do, even though you're telling them no. But yet they can sense that you still want them to lick. Okay, you have to sit there and you have to change your mindset in order to change their mindset. You know, those types of things. And oh, yeah, you could unmute, Jennifer, if it
Well,
helps.
I just want to keep it to a general conversation and we'll
Okay.
open for questions, just because,
Okay, hang on, Jennifer.
yeah, just because then we'll be happy to have people take questions. Because, there are people out here who might be interested in training in animal communication, or I'm really interested. Have you noticed a pattern, like advice you can give us as animal owners, because you've been communicating with animals over the years, those kinds of things?
Yeah.
The biggest thing I would say is, you know, let me think about this for a minute. It's actually just mostly behavioral on our part. Most of it is just us. You know, we take them for granted. Some of the things that I will tell people, and this is a big determiner of how things go. Let's say you work outside the home, or even if you do work inside the home. You're having a bad day, okay? They pick up on that. They pick up on that. As soon as you hit that door, if you have been outside, you have hit that door, and you haven't dealt with transitioning from your home, your office, or wherever you work to your home, that affects their behavior. And then they start doing funny things because they don't understand why it is that you're acting as bizarrely as you are, where you're acting really cranky and stuff like that. It's sort of like when you have little kids, okay? And if we've all, I don't know if everybody here has kids or have raised kids or been around kids. One of the things they always say is that what you feel, they feel. It's the same thing with an animal. It's the same thing. Same thing. Exactly the same thing. They can feel you. They can feel you big time. So one of the biggest advices I can give is if you're having a bad day, take a breath before you hit that door for that animal, because they don't understand the world. They're very simple. All they know is you. All they know is what's going on in the home. They have no clue what goes on out there. Thank God. I'm glad, because they're simple animals. They're just love, okay, pure love, and they have no idea. So that way you're not coming in the house and you don't acknowledge them, because they won't look for that. They look for acknowledgement. They have seen that you've been gone all day. They missed you. They want the routine, that however it is that you when you come home and you're not small treat, or to let them outside, or whatever it is that your routine is. That's what they expect every single day, because they are very consistent in their behavior. If we all know they're on a timer, okay? And if you don't have certain things done at certain times, they act up just like a little kid would do. So that's a biggest thing, is just think and take a breath before you walk in that door, because it does affect them as well.
Yeah.
And moving.
I have a question.
Sure.
So do you communicate with animal spirits, or mostly the ones here, or you do both? Okay.
I can, yes. Transition I can do. I have a woman, well, she's not quite ready at this moment in time, but she's going to get back to me that she had an animal that transitioned, and you all know that just breaks your heart. I know you know that, right? It breaks my heart when it happens to me. It just rips your gut out. That's all I can tell you. And you just sit with it, and it's just there. People that don't have animals can't get what this is a family member, okay? So yes, I can go in and I can talk to an animal that has transitioned. Death and dying, I can do. It's a very intense situation. It can come with some sobbing on both sides, because of course I'm going to be as teary-eyed as you. But yes, I can. Yes, I can. I've done it, and it's a beautiful experience. It's a beautiful experience. But I always recommend you wait a little bit before your animal to catch back in, because sometimes there's a holding period in there for that rainbow bridge situation, just like with humans. Some people don't have a big holding period in there. Some animals don't either. It's the same thing. So, and yes, I'm sorry for those of us that are Catholics that were told that animals don't have souls. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I'm Catholic, sorry, but they do have souls. They do have souls.
Oh, this is fascinating. We're going to open it up for some questions, but I have just one last question for anybody out there who's interested in animal communication. You said, is yours a school or is there something, how would you send people who are interested to find out more?
JoanRanquet.com. It's let me put it in the chat.
Okay.
She is the guru. Let me put it in here so that way you guys can have it. Even if you just want to go in and take one class from her, just one, just Animal Communication 101 or whatever. She is the premier lady.
Okay, great.
I recommend her to anybody. She also has a couple of books out if you want to get those books. She has one on energy healing for animals, and she also has one on communication with all life. That's another one. But that will also explain pretty much what I'm telling you right now about how you can communicate with your animals, and you don't need her class. She can teach you in the book if you're a self-starter. You can just get her book, and it's on Amazon. Nominal fee. She doesn't charge that much for her books. The energy healing is a little more involved, but it's also very useful for you to see all the different types. There's also T-Touch, which I have not experienced yet, but I'm going to go in this spring and do that one with her. There's EFT, which is like you tapping, where you're tapping on meridian points on your animal. That is really useful. You can do that on an animal. It's kind of challenging, so some of them are really wiggly, but if you can get them to a point where they're relaxed, it's amazing what you can do with it. So there's a lot to learn. But I say start with just one class with her and see how you feel about that. She's very, very good. Or if you don't want to do that, get her book. She'll explain it to you.
Well, I think that's a great way to see if that's something you're called to do. I'm going to put us back on gallery view, and Jennifer, why don't you unmute so that, because you had questions. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Thank you. My friends, they have a dog, and sweet dog, but he always wants to take his treats or his toys, put it in his mouth, and then try and shove it into mine. And I really don't want his stuff in my mouth for obvious reasons.
Now, is that something that they allow with him?
No, apparently I'm the only one he does it to.
Huh. Now that's an unusual thing where we'd have to actually go in and find out why he wants to share with you so much. Because it's a sacred thing he's actually doing with you. An acceptance thing. He has an acceptance thing with you. It's a pack thing that he's doing. It's pack behavior. It's genuine pack behavior. But yes, it is. It's actually, that to me, you're like up here with him. That's for him to want to share it like that, even though we know it's gross and everything, and it is kind of, but yeah, we have to go in some more, and we'd have to actually talk to the animal and find out what his thoughts are. And yes, it can be curbed. Yes, it can. It's just a behavioral thing, but he doesn't think there's anything wrong. He just identifies with you as one of the pack, and he wants to share. And isn't that wonderful?
It isn't. It isn't. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree.
Feelings, but I really don't want dog anything in my mouth because I don't have dog saliva to kill him like he does. You know what I mean?
I absolutely do. Most people do not. So yeah, it would be something that you would have to go in, and we would have to talk to him and find out what his thought process is, and then explain to him in simplest terms that we know how, because they are simple, that this should do, and we could probably have a compromise instead of something that he could do to honor you another way that wouldn't be so gross.
Okay, so is that the same thing with the licking? Because I swear to God, every time I come near this dog, he gives me a tongue back.
Yeah, it just could be that.
No,
Yeah, it just could be. It could be similar. It could be. Is he? You're the only one he does this stuff with,
yes, I am. Yeah,
and not the family.
not the family.
Wow. Yeah. So we would have. And you know what? You know what? It could be too. And I'm thinking about this that I'm getting intuitively here.
Okay.
I'm being told that perhaps maybe he identifies with you from another life.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
That's what I'm getting right now. It's telling me that he recognizes you.
Oh, okay. All
Because they
right.
do reincarnate, by the way. I have a couple of them in my house that have reincarnated. That's something I wanted to tell you guys too. So if you think they don't reincarnate, yes, they do.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank you.
I
No
actually,
problem.
I actually know that my one dog sent one of the dogs I have now.
They do
And,
that.
We have a question from the group online that says, it's from Marilyn, says, how can you tell if your pet is in pain? I have a 16-year-old, I'm assuming dog. Also, my pet is always looking off into space. Do they see spirits?
Yes, they do. They absolutely do. They see our spirits. My animals see mine all the time. They'll be looking here and above me a lot to see mine. I see it all the time. Some animals, Marilyn, just like people, they don't want you to know that they're in pain. They won't, because they know how close you are to them. I've had this time and again where they'll say, I don't want them to worry about me. I'm okay. I'm okay. But to really find out how medically they're doing, yeah, they have to have a reading. They have to have a good reading for me or someone like me that's an animal communicator with your animal to find out their condition. And sometimes the things that are every day that you have just accepted as every day are actually part of a medical condition. You know, you don't actually equate it to that. It's just, well, yeah, I never thought. After I get done with the reading, people always say, oh yeah, and you know what? I noticed that, and you know, I didn't think about that. You know, it's just a matter of paying close attention because they're masters at masking their feelings, because if they're that close with you, sometimes even when they're getting ready to transition, and I had one recently that it was like that, where the horse is fine. She knows that she's getting ready to transition. She wanted to see just how far along this was going, if she could find out. And it was just, she said, I don't want her to worry about me. I am okay. I am there, I'm fine, and I don't want her to worry. They do, they're so sweet. They're protectors, a lot of them they are, and they just don't, they won't. But is it impossible to go in and talk to them? Absolutely not. It absolutely true, we can do it, yes. Yes, I can. They're sneaky.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, she's frozen. Yeah. They are sneaky. I'll give you that.
Yeah, very sneaky.
Do we have some other questions or comments? Marilyn says thank you. Go ahead, Sue.
There is nothing more beautiful than the unconditional love that any animal that you share your life with can give you.
Yes.
They
yes,
do
yes.
have souls. They're all their personalities. They're wonderful. And there was a lady that I was getting to know, and she invited me over, and she sticks this little urn in my hand, this little jar, and she says, tell me what you get. And I got all this crazy stuff about mommy and this and that. I said, what the heck is this? And she said, that's my favorite kitty's ashes. And so it's really weird. I'm able to read the ones that are gone. I haven't really tried to read the ones that are.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you know, I want to try to do the ones, because I have a friend in California that is a horse whisperer. She can do it. And I'm like, oh, this is so cool, because I love animals so much. But I had told her that this kitty that was, you know, in the urn, said, that cat is going to come back to you. And 2 months later, this little funny kitty, and she tried to give this little kitty to me. And I said, no, this one belongs to you, must stay with you. He says, this is you're the mommy. And then she connected with that kitty, and it was that other one reincarnated. So it's kind of.
Yeah, I had a reading like that myself, where the woman, her and her husband lived on a boat, you know, and of course they had jobs and stuff, but they were on a boat, and this kitten that they had for not very, very long, one day disappeared, and they thought maybe it had drowned. But I mean, it used to race around the boat. It was a boat-loving animal, even for a cat. And so it was amazing that she wanted to know for sure if that's what happened. And I told her, yes, the cat drowned, unfortunately. And I said, but it will be back. It will be back soon. You know, I can't tell you how soon, but soon in their world and ours is two different things, because over there, if we all know that time means nothing. Okay, so soon could be anywhere between now and God knows when, right? So that is true. That is true, Sue. I would go to Joan's website and see, just take maybe a basic class from her if you want to. There are several other people that can teach. You can go and Google into animal communication classes and just see who teaches. But be very careful is all I say, because everything is not as it should be. You know, they're not as complete as Joan is, and I'm not trying to plug her because she's my teacher. I picked her for a reason. She came to me for a reason, because she's very complete in what she tells you. She has nothing she holds back. What she knows, you know.
And I feel that if I can read the animals that have passed over, I should be able to read the ones that are sitting in my lap.
Yes, ma'am, I'm getting chills, which is an acknowledgement from Spirit that yes.
Me too.
Yeah. So,
all right, I'm going to go check Joan. Thank you. Bless you for the work you do. God, I mean, the animals just so deserve a voice. They deserve the love. They don't deserve the crap they get too often. I mean, God, gentle, like you say, gentle, simple, kind, wonderful souls. I mean, it's a blessing whenever you have an animal in your life.
Amen. Really, amen, sister. And we need more of you. Yep. We need more of you, please.
I need more pets. You know, I had a strange experience where a friend of mine said, well, the same one with the little spirit kitty, or she has a friend who's a hunter, and he brought me some Canadian geese that they had shot. And I just spent time with that. I'm fascinated by birds. I just absolutely, you know, I love birds. There's my bird. There's my baby. And but I just spent time with what was left of the essence of that beautiful bird and thanked it for its life. And God, birds are so fascinating.
They are, and they're very. I love them because they are just free spirits. Mm-hmm. They are just free spirits, and they just go with the flow. They just go, and you watch them, and you know, because I have huge trees in my backyard, and during the summer especially, I'm out there every evening that I can, just watching them and how beautiful that they are, and the way that they communicate with each other, and it's just fascinating. I have doves that nest every year on my patio in my plants. Mm-hmm. They come back year after year, and it's so amazing. So yes, please, I strongly recommend with with what you have done so far, which is just nothing that you've done, it just happened. You are a prime candidate for it. But nobody here is not a prime candidate, okay? Every one of you that is listening to me, you can absolutely do this. You can.
Well, it's interesting because I just got to know one of the people that was watching actually took classes from the same lady you did. Took the master class, Stephanie Getz. So, you know.
She knows Joan.
It's great when you come back around to the same resource. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Okay, how do animals feel about being put down for their own good? Would they rather die naturally, or would they rather go earlier if
That's
there's
a great question.
Oh, it is a great question. Thank you. Um, Here's what I find that's most important. I made a mistake with one of my animals, okay? But here's what I know after reading so many of these, okay? A lot of times they'll let you know when they're ready, okay? They will let you know when they are ready, okay? If you're not sure, if you're not in real good tune with them, have somebody read and talk to them and find out what their wants are. Sometimes you can get a vet that can come out to the house, that can do that there at the home with the family around. So you don't do it in a sterile office type situation, because that sometimes just dying at home is a comfort, as we all know, even as people. But they will tell you, and if you're not if you're not too in tune because you're so emotional, and that does happen, obviously, have somebody read the animal, find out what that animal really truly wants, and honor it, and absolutely honor it. And I wish I would have done that with one of my animals. This was a long time ago. If I would have done that, I would have done things differently. But it was a learning experience. And yes, she's fine, because I read her one day and she's just fine. She's running around like she would do. But I know now what I needed to do and what I should have done. But it took, education I learned a lot. Especially after all this training I learned. Just from the animals themselves. So yes, honor them the way they want to go. Anyone else that wants to chime in, or if you have any other questions, I'm happy to sit here all darn night. I don't care.
I have a question. So my dog tends to be a little fearful of things, has a little anxiety, I think. But I have grandchildren, and so he's a little bit, and of course my grandson is like 2.5, so gets a little nervous around him, and I just don't know how to. I don't want him to. He hasn't ever, been aggressive with him or anything. He usually tends to go and hide, but I feel bad because I know he's anxious about it. So I don't know if there's anything I can do for that, or.
Well, is it just because of the kids, or is it just his nature? What kind of breed is he?
He's a Maltese Shih Tzu.
Okay, yeah, they're tending to be high-strung anyway, right? So, but is this something that he is part of his personality, or is it just around the grandkid?
No, I think it's his personality.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. See,
Yeah.
so it's a matter of him dealing with this as the child grows up. That's gonna grow out. Okay, I have an animal like that myself, and I've seen them. They just kind of have to, because they get to that grabby and they do all kinds of things and they're just darting in and out. At least he's got a survival thing going on right there, where he knows enough to just get around out when he's had enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think as your grandson grows up, they'll become more close, because it's not like he's not interacting with him at all. He is.
Right.
But when he's at his limit, which animals will do, they'll just split and say, I'm done. I am totally done with this. And as they get older, then they become more close, because, but there's really not too much you can do. He's already doing it himself, actually. Self-survival there.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, he's doing just fine. It's just the natural, the breed itself. They are naturally nervous animals, and if they're not around a lot of kids from puppyisms, then you're bringing it in, so it's a new thing, and it's like, holy cow, what do I do with this? And it's like, it goes this way and this way and this way, and it's like, oh my God.
All right. So I shouldn't feel bad when he goes and hides. He's just taking care of himself. I always think, is there something I can do? But because my grandson loves him, he's always talking about him, and he does go up and interacts with him. But then, like you said, he gets his fill and he goes and go somewhere else in another room or something.
Yeah, you can just simply tell your grandson he needs to take a nap right now. He'll be back later. I've done that. That's very simple, and they can figure that one out pretty easily.
All right.
I suppose it's just like us with have boundaries. You know, we set our boundaries and then we use them. Marie, did you have a question? I saw you unmuted.
Well, some of my questions already been answered. One of my rescue horses, when I took her in, was crippled, and I knew this. And now she's had, it's her knee cap is going, like the fluid is leaking from her knee, and I came this close to having her put down because of it, and then all of a sudden she started like and the farrier came and she stood like nothing was wrong whatsoever. And so
She's not ready. She's not ready.
So it's that fine line, because of the damage that's being done. I know she's in pain, but she's stubborn.
Yep.
She is. She's stubborn, and so it's not what you can say. It's almost like what can you do without being overbearing.
Now you just keep her comfortable. Let her do what she wants to do. What she wants to do, she will do. Just let her live her life as best as she can, no matter how bad it looks to you. She's got to do this because that's her nature. And when she's ready, you'll know. Because that's the reason why she did what she did, because she wanted you to understand, I'm not ready. I am totally not ready to leave yet. So listen and honor. Just let her live her life, and let her do what she can do. Sort of just like if you were caring for a parent, you know. And even though that parent, you know, maybe you think that the parent can't do X, Y, Z, but they're going to do it anyway. They're going to do what they want to do. And you got to let them. Painful as it's going to look or feel even to you, you got to let them live their life. Let them go. Let them do what she's got to do. Just be there in case she falls, you know. But don't, just let her live her life as freely as she can.
I was going to say, as you talk about Marie's horse, do animals have karma?
How do you mean?
I mean, did Marie's horse come back into this life as this beautiful creature, and she is fulfilling a karma with this kneecap pain and the love that she's giving Marie?
It's very possible. They also are on their own journey. Believe it or not, they do have, even though they are with us and they are there as our companions, they also have a journey that they are on. Okay? Giving you example of my own, if that's okay. I have an animal that is a Chiweenie. She came back. She's the same color as the male I had, and he had passed away. But yes, she is back as a female, okay? Same kind of personality. However, she's just a little bit calmer than he was, a little bit different personality, but is learning that she can't be just the star of the show. Like, you know, they you know, there is a learning process. They are on the same kind of thing we are. They have a journey. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
That's interesting.
It's true.
That is, because I have the two geriatric horses I have to keep separate from the younger ones, and they're all rescues. Well, except for one.
God bless you. God bless you.
And the younger ones, when I got them, the one was 7 months old, and the vet said, no, no, she's not going to make it because she was so decimated. But she's doing fine. She doesn't like men. And they're all doing well. You know,
God
I
bless
don't-
you for doing what you do, honey. Really. I can't tell you that enough.
And the vets here say, don't take on animals like this, you know. But for me, I don't ask a lot of them.
Mhm.
All I want them to do is live. I love walking out the back door and there they are. Yeah. So,
Let
you
them
know,
live their lives. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
That is your written script for your life. This is what you're here to do. That is exactly what you're here to do, hon. And you're doing it, and I love that. So horses get so abused just as well as any other animal, and darn it, I can't even imagine that poor horse's story. I really cannot. I really cannot.
well, I think that's what's kind of important about learning to communicate with them, is because you don't know their backstory.
Right.
And I don't treat them differently. I don't treat them like they've been injured. I don't treat them like they've been abused.
Good.
Because they're not here.
But I mean, that whole thing when you get a rescue, whatever breed, whatever kind of rescue you get, that's another important thing that I do want to stress too. If you ever get a rescue, don't always do the poor baby thing. Okay? Do exactly what Maria said. That animal is with you, and they're grateful that they have you in their lives. And by God, they're not, you know, they've rescued you as much as you've rescued them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You know, so there's a learning going on between you and that animal, and you know, and people like myself that can come in and learn your horse's story or whatever, so that way you can better help them, is what we try to do. That's what we're here to do. We're here just to be that voice.
Well, and what you said is we've become their part of their journey, just as we've attracted them to us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're
It's
we're a
fascinating.
little bit over. Sue, do you have? Is that a hand up to say? Oh, you've got the little icons up, or is it on her? Huh. So, Kim, I want to say thank you very much. I have a rescue dog that it's interesting. Jennifer, she licks all the time. She was a Sato. She was a street dog.
Still learning the house manners.
Well, her name is Tavern No Lick Foss. You know, I say it.
She doesn't know her name.
Yeah, no lick. You know, every morning, and she looks at you like, had to try.
I love that.
A for
Yeah.
effort.
Yeah.
Her name, honestly, I say her name is Tavern No Lick Foss. You know, so but it is wonderful. Thank you so much, and thank you for bringing
Yes.
that love forward.
Thank you so much.
And we appreciate it. And I'm sure
have
we'll
no
be in
problem.
touch because we'll be having people come back and talk. So thanks so much.
Oh,
Kim.
so that's one last thing that you said that, Kitty. So Kitty, you have Kim's information if somebody wants to reach out for
Yes, I do.
some animal communication, for a
Yes.
reading or something.
Oh, she's putting it in there, and I'll make sure it goes in. when I
Okay,
upload
yeah, please
too.
do, because there might be some people out there that are interested in doing that, and
And I wrote the names of the books, so I can put that in the notes too.
okay, perfect,
for people.
perfect.
So,
Yes, this has been fascinating. I'm sure I could have a million questions and talk to you all night, but we want to be respectful of your time.
Oh, I could talk all night. Believe me, it's my favorite. It is my favorite story. My favorite thing to talk about is animals. So what I've got is whoops, that's Gmail, not Gmail.
I'll fix
Oh.
it when I transfer it. So
But anyway, you can contact me on that, or if you want to contact me through my phone, that's great. But do it on a text, because you never know. I can't tell the difference between a spam and your call, and a lot of times people don't leave me a message, so I don't know what you know, and I'll block you because I'll think it's a spam thing. So you
Right.
feel free to text me, you know, or please, that would be wonderful. Or if you want to email me and you want to set up an appointment, that's fine too. Or you
All
just
right.
have a quick question, or you want to know more about Joan, be happy to tell you anything you need to know.
Thank you
Right.
so much.
Thank
We
you
really
so
appreciate
much.
Thank you guys. Thank you for letting me talk about it.
Oh, it touches the hearts there,
Yes.
um, to this day. Actually, if you look in the background, you can see these are 3 of my dogs. Those are
Oh,
their collars.
Collars.
So, their paw prints and their collars, they leave an impression on our heart. And, I'm a little different when I've lost an animal. My first thought is, I love them so much. It's my honor to have another one come and rescue that. I get rescues. So
mhm.
anyway,
We're all
so
animal
thank you. And
moms.
thank you, Marie, and everyone who's
Yes.
an animal lover out there. And we'll see you later from Intuition of the Soul.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.